we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Francesc Miralles. If you go into any library, you will see his name on at least 4 different shelves because he has written novels, short stories, travelogues and many more. And even if you are not a reader, you might have known him as a writer of Ikigai because it's hard to miss the sensation that the book has created over time. And he is a Catalan by birth. He's a scholar in English, in German. He's a traveler who has seen the world up close, and he's a writer, he's an editor, he's a publisher, he's a translator, and let's know from the author himself if there's anything that he is not yet. So I cannot not ask this firstly. What happened in your 20s that you left the sanctuary of your home and the comfort of your salary and you took up a journey to India,
Yes.
to a faraway place?
I was looking for myself as so many other Bohemians from the Western world who come to India trying to find inspiration, divinity, I don't know. It's a tradition maybe 100 years old. When you don't know your way in life, you go to India to see what happens. In my case, I had given up a very well-paid job as publisher, but that made me totally unhappy. It was in an office with very bad human atmosphere. Everyone was always discussing. It was mobbing. It was really killing me, that job. And then I decided to quit my job. I had to stay there 15 days, as is usual in Spain. And then I took a plane to India with my girlfriend, and I was like a couple of months with my backpack and going south and talking to people, exploring things. And it was in this first trip to India that I wrote my novel.
Lost in Mumbai.
Yes, it was during, Lost in Mumbai, it was during the trip. Okay. So if I was 45 days, I was writing a couple of pages every day, and when I came back to Barcelona, the book was written in hand, but then I started typing it in the computer and all this.
Okay. So you found what you came seeking for in India?
Yeah, I found 2 things that I needed, I think. One was beauty, the beauty of the landscapes and the beauty of the people, and kindness, because I have been stressed with a very cruel state of relationships in the work. And when I came here and the smile of the people, the honest interest in knowing who are you, I met a lot of friendly people and a lot of travelers with interesting stories. So I learned a lot of things, and it was a great inspiration to write it in this children's book that is an introduction to India, actually.
So did India disappoint you in any way?
No, not at all. Of course, there is some topics about India that is the land of spirituality, and you go to a city like Mumbai, and everybody is asking for money. But this is normal, this is the real world.
Yes.
And I didn't feel at all disappointed. I felt very curious, and India is a world on itself that even if you travel there 20 times, you always have the impression that there is a lot to see, a lot to know. And in this trip, I was talking about Pondicherry and Auroville. I've never been there, and I am thinking of the next trip to go to these places.
You must.
You never finish India.
Yeah, you never finish India.
Never. Not even the Indians have gone to all the places of India that they want to visit.
But unfortunately, we are not as interested as you are to travel over India.
Maybe for you it's more interesting traveling to Europe.
Yes.
That's what happens. For me, Europe, everything is very similar.
Culturally very similar, might be.
And the architecture, and here you are surprised because here in Kerala everything is very green. You go to the north and you see the desert, but also you have big mountains and you have islands. You have everything in India.
You actually are an author with a multitude of experiences. First of all, you are from Barcelona, it's an intercultural city. Then every language comes with its own bag of culture, and you are a multilingual as well. Then you have traveled the world. So how do you transfer your personal experiences into the very impersonal act of writing?
Yes, traveling helps very much the inspiration for writing. Because, for instance, if you're writing novels
Yeah.
and you go to some interesting place in India, there is a part of the narration that is already done. You only have to explain the trip, the people, the trains, what happens, the little anecdotes of everyday, the daily things that happen in a trip. So there is a big part of the writing that reality gives you that. And then you put the plot. And if you are writing an essay like Ikigai and you go to Japan, there is a part of the book also that is totally taken from reality. Conversations that we had with the centenarians, things that we learn in the way. So traveling is something that will give you thousands of ideas to write always.
So how was this trip to Japan?
This trip to Japan was like 7, 8 years ago. I had been to Japan many times. I had already written things about Japan, but I met Hector Garcia, who lives there since 20 years. He lives in Tokyo, but his wife is from Okinawa. And it was the father-in-law who said, go to Okinawa because there is a little village called Ogimi that is in the Guinness World Record book of the place with more centenarians every 1,000 inhabitants. So we went there to interview them and to know about their habits, how do they eat, how do they relate each other, how do they move. And in this field camp, we learned all what we wrote afterwards for the book Ikigai, together with other investigations that we did about logotherapy, flow, many things that are mentioned in the book.
Okay, so it must have been a real cultural shock to you to witness the life in Japan, right?
Yeah, it's more cultural shock coming to India. Japan is more similar to Europe. Even that in Okinawa, this was a rural place.
Oh.
But it was a village of 2,500 people with separate houses, with beach, with mountain, with a lot of green, and a lot of very old people. One of them was 108 years old.
Okay.
More than a cultural shock was interesting anthropologically to see old people so active, because in Spain, people over 80, they are at home or they are in the hospital or they are in a social club playing cards, domino. But these people with 85, with 90, with 100, they are driving cars, digging in the garden, making celebrations. So we were surprised of the energy that they had. And because of that, we stayed many days there trying to understand what gave them this energy.
Ikigai is another version of seeking yourself,
Yes.
or seeking a purpose in life.
Yes, if you have a purpose in life, you are a spiritual person, because being spiritual doesn't mean to believe in God, to believe in reincarnation, to have a holy book. Being spiritual, I think, in my opinion, is believing there is something beyond yourself, that there is something greater than you. Call it cosmos, call it unity, call it love. When you are loving other people and when you are helping humanity, this is a kind of spirituality, because you are going out of the ego and you are going beyond the limits of your person. Actually, the spirituality of Okinawa is very interesting, because in Japan they have 3 religions. They have Shintoism, that is the ancient religion of Japan. They have Buddhism, Zen, there is the Zen, the Japanese Zen, and they have Christianity also. And it's said that a Japanese person will pass through the 3 religions in his life, in her life. So you are born Shintoist because the rights of being born have to do with this religion. You marry Christian because many girls have been movies and they want to wear in white and go to a church. And they die Buddhist. That is the religion of unattachment. But the interesting thing is that in Okinawa, none of these three religions is the main one.
Oh.
They have animist religions similar to the ones which are in Black Africa and in Polynesia. And in Ogimi, in this place where we were doing the investigation, they adore a creature of the nature called Bunagaya, that is like a kid with long hair, and that it's a religion about the community of human being with nature, and that's their spirituality. It's not to get luck or anything of that, but to find harmony with the nature.
Okay, so you're seeking something.
You're seeking happiness in yourself or in the other. I would say you're seeking spiritual growth, being a better person.
Okay. Apart from this spiritual aspect, there's this cultural aspect as well, and also the social and economic aspect. Okinawa is relatively less developed, right?
Yes, they are the less developed, the poorest in Japan, with less infrastructures, with less opportunities of jobs. Okay. So it has all the bad points to be happy. So you could think that in a place like this, it's not possible that people live until 100 with energy and optimism. But it's like this. And even it was the place with worst experiences during the Second World War. But they have a special philosophy. It's called the philosophy of forgiveness. So they have forgiven the past. They have forgiven even the Americans that live now in the islands. There are a lot of them, and they treat them like brothers and sisters. And they have decided to live the day. They are people who love celebrating things.
Okay.
Because of that, if you live in Okinawa, if you live in Ogimi, you are not going to eat alone. If you prepare food, you prepare for you and your neighbors. And the relationship between the neighbors is more than neighbors, is more than friends. They treat each other like family. Actually, there is an Okinawan saying that is, once we have gathered around the table, we are all brothers and sisters.
Okay.
That's
very impressive.
It helps them to live in a happy way and to live long. Okay. The situation of Okinawa is not bad, because Hector Garcia, the co-author of the book, who lives in Shibuya, in the center of Tokyo, he says that the rent of an apartment, very small, 30 square meters, can be $4,000 a month. And it's difficult to find a flat. And in this village of Okinawa, in Ogimi, you can have a big house with garden, everything, for $300 a month. And so who is living better? The person who is in a matchbox, in a very small place, or somebody who has space, who has a garden, who can enjoy the nature. So I think they are not aware of lacking anything, because they are happy living in the middle of the nature and in community.
Okay. It's the climate, the food habits, and the lifestyle, everything is favorable for a healthy life.
But especially the relationships, that's very important.
The community. Right?
The community, because when we started doing the interviews, we visited the circles of all people. These circles are called moais. And a moai is a circle of 10, 12, 15, 20 old people who meet maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on every circle, and they meet to celebrate, to have fun, they have their birthdays there, they sing karaoke, sports, but also to help each other. Okay. And they have a common money box. To be part of a moai, you need to pay like $30 a month, and there is like a common bank. And when there is a problem for one of them, they take the money of the common bank, and it's like a direct loan to this person, so that can solve something with their health, with the house. So you have the feeling that you are protected even if you don't have family. If you don't have family in the village, they are your family and they are caring for you and you care for them. So it gives two things, a feeling of protection and a feeling of responsibility, that you are also responsible for the happiness of the others.
So don't you think this Ikigai way of life is culture specific? Because many of the cultures can't live like that, right? Especially in Indian culture,
Yes, it's like that. But when we put Ikigai in a city, then Ikigai has a different meaning.
Okay.
So for them, for these simple people, their purpose in life are two things. Enjoying the nature, working in the garden and being in contact with the nature, and enjoying the friends, the circle of friends. When we go to a city and we speak about purpose of life, it's different because many cities don't have much nature. And many people don't have 10 friends or 20 friends, maybe you have a couple of them. So the purposes for a person like this would be more artistic ones, intellectual ones, altruistic. So for somebody in a city, I can say my Ikigai is learning this language. My Ikigai is playing piano. It's this startup that I have created and I want to get this and this and this. So it gets more complicated because we, the people living in the cities, are more complicated than these simple, peaceful people of the villages.
Okay. The book came out in 2016. I think you are 48. You're too young to talk about the fulfillment of a life.
Yes, I was learning from the people who were masters of the long life. So when you talk with somebody who is 108, as the last time we were in Okinawa with National Geographic, this person can explain you a lot of things that are lessons for a long life. So what we explained in the book is what we could learn from all these masters.
The recent times we can see on the social media there's a commotion about anti-aging products, treatments and lifestyles, and we are trying to create genetically modified human beings and we are trying to achieve eternity. So what's your take on this? Aren't this all unethical, because aren't we supposed to yield to the process of nature?
Yes, actually human beings are trying to manipulate nature. They behave as gods, but it happens also because we are in a very special moment of history, with a lot of chaos, with a lot of overpopulation, with the climate change. So it's normal that they are trying to do different things. Actually, what happened with COVID was a surprise for everyone. In the beginning, COVID seemed like it was the end of humanity, and in just 2-3 years, it disappeared. So it was like
suddenly
like magic. So it means that human beings, we have a lot of problems, but we have a huge capacity of solving problems. I don't know if it will be enough to survive, but I think we could have hope that we have the ability to go through these difficulties.
So if everybody practices the Ikigai way of life and we attain the supreme immunity power, then what is left for science, for medicine?
No, yes, Ikigai can be in science and can be in medicine. Ikigai is an inner attitude. It's when you put your passion in the center of your life. So it means first that you must know yourself, to know what is your talent. So you must be aware of what is your gift for the world. Second, identify what you love doing more than any other thing. So if you are talented in something and you love doing that, then you must find a way to bring it to the world. Then you already have the purpose. If we live in a planet where everyone would have an Ikigai, doctors would work with a lot of work, politicians would be honest, and everybody would be much happier. And if you are happy with your life and with what you do, then you help other people to be happy. If you are angry, you are irritating everyone. So there is a direct relationship in how happy we are and how happy is our circle. Okay. It's a matter of focus. Instead of so much multitasking, trying to do so many things and all day in the scrolling of the social media, identifying what is very special for you, what make you a feeling of flow, that you can be in the present and not project yourself to the past and to the future, and dedicate your life to that, because it will be good for you and it will be good for the people around you.
Okay. So what is your current Ikigai, and do you think it will change over time?
My Ikigai has been changing with time.
Yeah.
I had an Ikigai as teacher. I was teaching German, and I was very passionate for that during 2-3 years. I had an Ikigai as a translator of books, as a publisher. I had an Ikigai as writer. Now I cannot write so much because I travel a lot. I would say nowadays my Ikigai is helping other people to find their Ikigai.
Okay. So how will you guide somebody who's in the quest for Ikigai?
Many people. So I receive a lot of emails of young people that don't know what to do with their lives. But that's normal. When you are young, you must explore many possibilities. It's rare that somebody very young knows already what wants to do with the rest of his life. And then I told them what Viktor Frankl said to the passions. If you don't know what is your purpose in life, you can have a purpose, discovering it. So your purpose right now will be the exploration and discovery of your purpose in life. This is a passion itself, if you take it like an adventure. If you don't know what to do with your life and you are young, it's good to travel, it's good to go to a foundation and to be a volunteer, to work in cooperation. Because when you don't know what to do, it's because you are living in a very narrow zone.
Comfort zone.
Where always happen the same things. So if you have 2-3 friends that are negative like you, and you are all day in front of the computer, in your room, like a hikikomori in Japan, these children that don't go out of the room, nothing new can happen. So the first step to find your Ikigai would be open yourself to the world, speaking with other people, reading books, visiting foundations, contributing here or there. If you're in contact with more people, there are more possibilities that you find something that makes click inside you.
Okay. So if we look at the book market, we see that there's an influx of self-help books. So what's with this postmodernity and this capitalist world and everything that people need help actually?
People always needed help. Before it was the religions.
Okay.
So 200 years ago, people was going to the temple, to the church, daily even. And the priest or the figure that was in the head of this religion had the same role than the teacher, the guru, the writer. But religions are something that are more cultivated by all people nowadays, and especially people living in cities. Their way to be spiritual is the self-growth. They're trying to see how can they live better. And they can go to workshops, they can do many things, but the easiest way and the cheapest way is reading a book, because depending on what you need to improve, for instance, I had a big problem with money all my life. Until 10 years ago, I didn't know how to manage money. Okay. And I read a book of a Spanish author called Money Mindfulness. Well, it was a simple book with maybe 20 chapters, and in every chapter there was a basic idea. After reading this book, I never had problems with money, never more. Why? Because I understood things that I was doing in an automatic way. And I think the books like every self-help book at least has one thing that can make the difference in your life, but only if you are able to put it into practice.
Okay. So if we look at the market again, there's 2 streams of self-help books. So first one, the leading bestseller is Ikigai, and another bestseller is the book by Mark Manson.
Yes.
Yeah, but they are polar opposites. They propose two different ideas. How does that work?
Only the language is different.
But
Because Mark Manson, it's a blogger,
Yeah.
and if you read his posts,
Yeah.
he's very interested in self-development, but he explains it in this funny way.
Yeah, in a sarcastic way.
Yes,
Yeah.
but actually, even if it's a sarcastic way, the message is the same.
Yeah.
But he has the style of a blogger, of a counterculture, and this irony. But I think the same person could read Ikigai and could read Mark Manson, and it wouldn't be any problem.
Yeah, but Ikigai somehow tells you to build a community feeling,
Yes.
whereas the book Mark Manson's books tell you that it's healthy to have a little bit of distance from everything and everyone.
And both are right. So
Yeah.
I think if you want to be happy, if you want to realize in life, you must build your own community, your own moai, your circle of people that you like and you trust and give you inspiration. But you cannot be friend of everyone. There are people who have different values from you, and it's not good that you go to a party just because they invited you if you don't like the way these people is. So I think both visions can be together in a life.
You are a prolific writer, so you have tried different genres as well.
Yeah.
And we see that there's complexity of Catalan culture in your work, and there's an English techniques, and there's a German Gothic as well. So when you write, what is the process like? Because you have been an editor for so long. So you edit as you write, or you
When I write, it's because I am passionate by a topic.
Okay.
So when we were in Japan and we were doing all these interviews in the village of centenarians, during 1 year we were talking only about this and reading about this and reading about the blue zones and comparing different academical papers. When this finished and we gave this book to the publisher, then other things came. Maybe I wanted to write something for youngsters, I wanted to do something of psychology or a novel. So for me, writing is putting into words what I am feeling and what I am investigating in this moment of my life.
Okay.
And every 3, 4, 5, 6 months comes something different.
Okay, so you write first and then you think of the editing part.
Yes, normally I have, because I am in the professional world of publishers, when I have an idea, I write a proposal that is like a summary of the idea, maybe the table of contents, and then one chapter, and I show it to a publisher that I think that will be interested in that. When it happens, then they say, oh, it's okay, I need that you give me the manuscript in 5 months, in 3 months, in 6 months, depending. And then it is a job. Then you must sit and every day produce a couple of pages and go in that direction. And that's good, because if we don't put a deadline, even if you don't have a publisher, if you are an independent author, it's good that you say this must be finished by that month and that day, because it gives you a positive pressure that makes you accomplish daily a little goal to go to the end.
Okay, so you have collaborated with many authors, like first Hector, then you have Alex, your friend,
Yes.
and then you have K.S. Santos, then John
Yes.
Bruno.
Many,
So
yes.
how do you work that out?
It's easy, because normally these are very good friends with which I have something in common. With K.S. Santos, we were going to a cafe that both inspired us a novel about a cafe where magical things happen. And with Hector Garcia, we both are passionate of anthropology, Japan, philosophy, and we found a common ground to write about. And about the style, it becomes unified, because I correct your chapter, you correct my chapter, and in the end, I don't know if I wrote that, if it was from you. So it's a very nice process, because normally writing is a very lonely task, and you can feel insecure, you can feel lonely, you can feel that confused, that maybe it's not going to be understood. But when you write with another, the other person is immediately reading what you do. And so you have constant feedback and you give feedback. So it's like playing paddle in tandem. It's funnier.
Okay. It's easier for you?
It's easier. It's easier because it goes very fast. But there are many books that I prefer to write them myself.
Okay. So about the fiction and non-fiction binary, when you write a book like Love Lowercase, so there's a buffet for the senses. You're laying out a buffet for the senses, you're feasting the senses. But when you write a book like Ichi or Ikigai, you are making sense, you're sensitizing.
Yes.
So how do you move from one genre to another?
Actually, for me, it's much easier writing books like Ikigai because it's a journalistic work.
Yeah.
So, you have a topic, you divide this topic in 20 ideas maybe, and every idea or every sub-chapter, every chapter, you have 5-6 things that you want to put there. And then you write, and you write in a more neutral way. You try to be very clear, entertaining, to put examples, to put cases, to put something from you, from your experience. And for me it's very easy because I have worked as journalist during many years. I've written thousands of articles, and it's like opening it's like opening something to flow the words. But when you write a novel, it's different because you must take many more decisions. If you are narrating in first person, in third person, in past, in present, if there will be only one narrator, if there will be two, the sensibility, the voice. So it's more delicate that. But also writing novels, the good thing for the authors is that helps you to escape reality, and after that it will be the same with the reader, and so it's a more absorbent activity than writing essay.
But to a reader, you seem to manage both very easily.
Yes, yes. I started with novels in India with this Lost in Bombay.
Yeah.
I think I have written like 30 novels between
and many
children,
short stories also.
youngsters, for old people, a thriller I wrote. And for me it was very funny writing novels because it's a work of imagination, and many things that you have lived in travels, knowing people, you put in there. Yeah, one anecdote from here, one person from there. So it excites you. It excites you writing novels. And writing essays is more like the job of a teacher, that you know certain things, you have the information there, and you're trying to explain it in the most entertaining way possible so that the reader is having a good time and is keeping something that is useful.
Okay. So, whenever there is a chaos or whenever there is some issue or misery, literature seems to emerge out of it. So, you've been to the Balkan Wars, you've seen it up close, and you've written a book, Balkan Cafe.
Yeah.
So, now there's Barcelona Independence movement back at home. So, as somebody who's gifted with words, how do you address the issue back at home?
The last part of the question?
The Barcelona Independence movement.
Independence movement. I am not.
Is it peaceful?
It's very peaceful.
Okay.
There is no terrorists, there is no violence. It's something ideological. I am not into politics because I think that every part has right, depending on which is the point of view. But it's a very peaceful movement. And after 2-3 years, now it's a moment in which people don't want to talk about that. They are again into business and trying to go on with their lives. So when I read the newspapers, I go to the cultural pages, sports, something maybe about the world, but I never read about local politics. I am not interested in that.
So you have no social pressure as an author to write on something?
No.
You pick your subjects as
because there is a strange thing that I am a writer that have many more readers in foreign countries than in mine. So when I go to any place in Barcelona, in Madrid, in Spain, people is not pursuing me with books, but here in India it happens, and in other places, because this book has been very famous in Turkey, in United States, in England, but in Spain it's very relaxed. So people know that I am a guy that writes a lot of books. They make me interviews sometimes to know my opinion, but I don't feel a popular person in the media there.
So finally, I understand that Barcelona is an area with a population of 5 to 6 million people.
Actually, Barcelona, the city itself, it's 1,700,000, but the urban area, maybe it's 4 or 5 million people, with other cities that are around, small cities.
There are 3 crores of people in Kerala. And I think double the amount or thrice the amount of people here root for the Barcelona football team. What do you have to say to that?
I am a fan of football.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because don't think that the writers are people different from any other person. So I read many books, and I meet other writers, and I go to universities and to schools, but when I go to sleep, normally, I put a radio program about news of Football Club Barcelona. I like to listen to talks about football because it relaxes me. It's like a kind of mental yoga, because nothing of that is important. Yeah. But if I go to sleep with the news of the world and the war and all this, I will have problems to sleep. But if I am listening about football, I relax until I can fall into the sleep.
And we welcome you back again to India to have your Ikigai here again.
Thank you very much. Traveling to India is one of my Ikigais, and always when I come back, I am thinking of the next trip where I will go in India.
I hope that the next trip will be to Pondicherry, to Auroville.
Yes.
So that you can fulfill the dream of yours.
Yes, and I have many other Indian dreams. Andaman Islands.
Oh.
I would love to go there.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.